Hey everyone, today we will be looking into Google's recently released Agent Developing Kit. It is a flexible and modular framework for developing and deploying agents. So it consists of three primary types. We've got the base agent. This is your primary tool for incorporating intelligent. As the diagram shows, this agent is responsible for reasoning, using tool, transferring complex information. Then we have the base agents. We've got the sequential agent for running tasks in order, and then we have got the parallel agent for concurrent executions, and the loop agent for repeating processes. Um, these are the controllers for managing the flow of data and execution. So the main idea is that we have separated the intelligent, which is the LLM agents, from structural workflow agents. It means that you can test your application's logic independently from LLM's output. You can debug the flow of your program without going lost in the maze of prompts. Finally, you can also have your own custom logic. Um, Allowing you to inject your own traditional code, any specific function or business logic that you have, so you can put in there. So what you have essentially is a class-based approach, allowing you to build systems that are engineered, not just improvised. So we'll look into the installation. Installation is pretty simple. You can head just try pip install Google ADK and you should be fine. Depending upon your environment, you will also need either access to Vertex AI project or your Gemini API key, or if you're using any other LLM, so their respective keys. So once you have installed ADK, there are lots of samples available. You can head over to Google ADK samples, and it has lots of examples in Python and Java. So in Python, it got lots of example. The other repo is also available from Google, which is ADK Python, and you can go to contributing samples, and also it has a lot of samples available. So now we will go over a few of the samples which will make you understand how the Google ADK works. So from this repo, I'll be cloning this repo and just looking at few of the examples. Okay, so first thing first, what you have to do is that in each of these folders, there is a .env.example file. So you have to open up this file and put in your credentials. For example, if you are using Vertex AI, you have to put your project ID, your project location, and if you are using storage, you have to do this. The other way is using the Google AI Studio or a key from Google. So in that case, you don't need to use these things. All you have to do is to put Vertex AI use equal to false and just put in your Google or Gemini API key. So this should work. So I have already put in my keys, and so it should be good. So what we will be looking first is a project called LLM Auditor. So let's go to LLM Auditor. So good thing is that it has a nice structure. So let's look at the architecture first. So it got the LLM Auditor, then we have a critic agent, and then a revisor agent. So both of these are agents, and then the critic agent has a tool available, which is the Google search. So let's look first at the LLM Auditor. So let's go into the agent itself. So what we have here, let me zoom in a bit. So within the main agent, what we have done is set up a sequential agent, and it has two sub-agent, critic agent and revisor agent. So which means that um, we have a distinct workflow which will follow the critic agent, and the output of the critic agent may or may not be available to revisor agent, and so on. So what we have is a simple description. So evaluates LLM generated answer, verifies actual accuracy using the web, and refines the response to ensure alignment with real world knowledge. And in the last line, we are assigning LLM auditor to the root agent. So this serves a single point of entry. So if we have to run some tests, for example, here, we can use the agent as an entry point. So we have covered the LLM auditor. Now just look at the critic agent, what it is. Um, so in critic agent, we've got two functions. One is the render reference function, and other is just the declaration of the agent. What it is using is Gemini 2.5 Flash again. Its name is critic agent, and it's using the prompt critic prompt, and it has access to the Google search tools. And after model callback, so once the model has done everything, lastly it will invoke the render reference function. So I think this is just for making a nice looking output and formatting purposes. So briefly look at the critic prompt. In the critic, we got the critic prompt. So this is where we have the LLM prompt sitting, which has like identify the claims, verify each claims, and you can like have your own agent doing whatever you want, and it goes here. The other thing we have is basically the Google search. So which is basically a tool available, so it will be using Google search if necessary. So now that we have looked at the critic agent, let's look at the revisor agent. So it's pretty straightforward. The revisor agent is again an agent. It's using the revisor prompt, and again we have the after model callback available. In this case, we don't have any tools, or we're not using any tools, just using the prompt. So which is basically a standard prompt. We have to look at the claim, and then again verify if claim is good, bad, or whatever, and then we just present it. So let's give it a start and see how it works. To run, we just type ADK web, and it should be starting in a second. So when it's running, you just have to go to the localhost, enter. You can select your agent from this menu. In our case, we were working with LLM auditor. So here you can just say, okay, what can you do? For example, what can you do? It's throwing me an error. Let me fix this. Okay, so I troubleshooted the issue. That was because I was running the ADK web command from the wrong directory. So interestingly, you have to go inside the agent. For example, in this case, LLM auditor, and then run ADK web, considering that you have already set the .env file. So let's head back to our agent. So I ask it, what can you do? So it's a standard, what can it do? So let's put in some question and answer pair. So why planets are not square shape, blah blah blah, and let's see what does it do. So once I have run it, it should be looking into this question answer and calling the critic and the revise agent. So we can basically look into the indications, agent LLM auditor, and then it called the critic and it called the revisor agent. So you can actually look